This playlist collects together and organizes the individual component modules which together comprise the orientation video for this course. Welcome to the Spring 2023 term, and specifically welcome to one of the two sections of Critical Thinking or Philosophy 170 that I'm teaching this term. My name is Dr. Charles Wallace and I'll be your instructor this term. I'm currently teaching two sections of critical reasoning, and I propose to combine the resources for these two sections so that students can utilize resources interchangeably. I'm going to teach these sections largely asynchronously. The lectures and the assignments are all available to you through Beachboard. However, I'm also going to use designated meeting times for working office hours. I'll have two Zoom office hours on Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 12, and I'll have an in-person office hour in LA5 246 from 12:30 to 1:45. The goal of these hours is to allow students to come in and ask questions about the material, about the course, about upcoming tests. I'll organize reviews during these periods and so on, so that you have an opportunity to meet either virtually or in person to go over material, to ask questions, to work problems, to study for the test. I'm going to assume that everyone has a basic familiarity with Beachboard. This is the landing page for the online-only critical reasoning section, and there are a few things that I want to point out to you in terms of how I organized our Beachboard site and the sorts of resources that are available to you. Up top here we have our navigation bar. You'll be able to go to the content page, the class list, the drop boxes, Zoom, quizzes, discussions, and gradebook, right from this top navigation bar. As we go down, the lower left here is the newsfeed. Each week I'll have a new newsfeed item. It will basically talk about what we're going to be covering, any other important events for the course, and then it'll give you a list of the assignments, reading assignments, lecture assignments, and any other assignments like quizzes, and there'll be direct links. Now I had to reorganize this course pretty dramatically in a really short period of time. So if there are typos or you find links that don't work right, please contact me as soon as possible so that I can correct them. Up in the top right here, what we see is the instructor profile. I'll give you my email, the Zoom office hours, the in-person office hours, and a link to the Zoom meeting that I use for the office hours. Below my instructor profile is a modified CSULB student resources widget. I include the COVID policy, the final schedule, cheating and plagiarism schedule, policy on withdrawals, the ITS help desk information, ATS resources for students. I've also included some links to units that promote student well-being and that are paid for by your fees. So there's a link to the counseling and psychological services, there's a link to student health services, and there's a link to the basic needs program. This last one, the basic needs program, helps students to deal with potential difficulties arising from food or shelter insecurity. Below that is the BMA Student Services link. If you're someone like me who's dyslexic or you have other challenges and you can register with the BMAC, then the BMAC will notify me and will make accommodations that are appropriate. Beneath all of these is the calendar, and the calendar will again tell you what's happening at any given week, scrolling downward, when a quiz becomes available, when that availability ends, etc. So you'll basically have 4 different sources for knowing what's going on in a given week. You'll have our news feed here, you'll have the syllabus, you'll have the content page, and you'll have the calendar. So you shouldn't have any trouble knowing exactly what's going on in any given week. In the next module, we'll look at the contents page and move on then from the contents page to the quizzes page to the gradebook page.